Hello, everybody. My name is Andrew Brokus. You may know me as the author of the Thinking Poker blog or the co-host of the Thinking Poker podcast. I'm going to be joined in just a moment by the other host of the Thinking Poker podcast, Nate Mavis, and we are going to be looking at a PLO 8 or better World Championship of Online Poker tournament. This is a completely free strategy video, 1 hour of two reasonably knowledgeable, hopefully somewhat entertaining guys talking about poker strategy, specifically pot limit Omaha 8 or better tournament poker strategy. It's a fun dynamic. I hope you'll enjoy it. This video is being created as part of a fundraiser for the Bay Area Urban Debate League, which is a nonprofit organization that I've been pretty active with in the Bay Area since I've lived out there. I've been a member of the board, I've been a volunteer, I've been a significant donor myself, and coming up here on the end of 2016, we're trying to raise a little bit of money for them. So for every $500 that's raised, we're going to be releasing for every $500 raised, I'm going to be releasing a half hour of strategy content like this one. If you haven't already, I would encourage you to make a donation. You feel free to watch the video first and then donate whatever you feel like it was worth to you. One caveat is that any donations of $20 or larger, you'll be entered into a drawing to win some cool prizes, including an item from our store at nickcast.com, a free month at Tournament Poker Edge, a custom video review of your own play, coaching from Nate, and possibly some other prizes as well. We'll have all of that announced at the end of the contest. But you'll be entered to win some prizes if you contribute $20 or more. For every $500 raised, we'll be releasing a half-hour strategy video. And to make your donations, two ways to do it. You can click the link here on your screen, and that'll take you to the page here where you can click here to donate now, or you can go to razoo.com, razoo.com, and type in my name, Brokus. Press, let's see, we need to press enter. Gotta press enter. And you'll find the fundraiser here. So as you can see, I set a goal of $5,000. I've got $42.25 raised so far. Still a couple days left to go in December, so please help me out, help me reach the $5,000. I'm also very interested in just the sheer number of donors that we get. That is in some ways more important. So even if you're contributing just a small amount, any little bit will help to increase the number of people contributing, which is also an important factor for nonprofit organizations like this one. So thanks for any contribution that you make, and please enjoy the video.
Okay, so here with Nate and Mavis. Thanks for doing this with me, Nate.
Happy to. I like doing things for the Urban Debate Leagues, and I also like talking about PLO 8, and I like talking about poker with you. So this is all very good.
Excellent. So you can see I don't have the softest table in the world. Big Hooney just got moved, but Deuces 85 is very good. Rate a lot. I'm blanking on his real name, but he's extremely good. Sirens is a frequent high stakes mixed game player on PokerStars. I'm not sure about some of these other ones, but there's definitely at least three extremely good players at this table.
Very good. Do you think they're all extremely good at PLO 8?
Sirens definitely is. Rate-a-lot is a super smart guy and poker player, so I don't know that he plays a lot of PLO 8, but I still think he's not gonna make typical no limit donk mistakes. Okay. I don't know as much about Deuces 85.
Okay, so this isn't like World Series of Poker random.
No.
Stressed out tournament guys show up to play PLO 8.
Maybe some of them are, but I think the particular people that I identified, probably not.
All right. Good. Yeah, so that's fun, being able to play against some good players. And, you'd rather not be playing against good players in the W Coop, but,
Yeah, it's only $300. Not the end of the world if I'm giving up a little something for the enjoyment of the tournament.
Yeah, and so you've got an under-the-gun decision already. I think anything that's not folding is good. If you're going to have a limping range, this is a pretty good hand to put in it. In particular, it's good to keep some high card value in your limping range. Some people, I think, err on only doing this with low card hands that they want to that don't have the most scoop potential. or just high card hands. So it's good that you have like a two-way hand in your under the gun range, and you've got some suitedness. This hand is good enough to raise, and especially at this depth, it can call a re-raise fine against all but the tightest good players. But limping is okay. It's stylistic. I would just try to make sure that your ranges look okay, especially if there are good players at the table.
Okay. Yeah, I have no way of knowing whether they look okay, and fair chance they don't. But this just kind of struck me as a hand, like in particular because it's your ace three and not ace deuce, where a flop like this one, I think in a limped pot, maybe my hand has a little bit more value than in a raised pot. I don't know. I guess that's maybe sort of like Hold'em thinking, but just because I'm plenty nutty on the high side, but I just it's not. I guess that's sort of the way I think about it. Is like, do I want to build as large of a pot with non-nut draws?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. I wouldn't think only about that. Your hand is pretty robust. You have nut potential on the high side, and it's not that hard to hit a deuce.
Right.
Like especially if they think that you're going to be playing a lot of ace deuce hands. You want some ace three and ace four hands in your range, especially ace three hands.
Yeah.
So like your hand plays fine. I wouldn't worry too much about that. And also, we're only playing seven-handed here, so I don't know. It's not like there are that many people who are going to wake up with ace deuce, king deuce, ace king deuce, whatever, stuff like that behind you. So yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about that. But here on this flop, you have almost no value. So I mean, you can't.
Okay, good. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure I did not bet this. Yeah, I think this is like, I don't know, maybe some people are looking at this and kind of surprised, but yeah, I've got no high potential. I don't have the nut low. It's definitely not a situation where I'm trying to put more money in the pot.
And you have no backup on the low. Like you're going to get a quarter of this pot pretty often. You're going to get half of it, more than sometimes, but you have no backup, and just your high hand. You don't have anything. You don't have a gutter. You got nothing.
Yeah. Even hitting so like a jack completes a straight, hitting an ace is going to counterfeit my low. Like there's really not like even just like turning a pair, which is not that great of a high hand to begin with, is like it's still just not very good.
I mean, if you hit running jacks, you're not in that great a shape. You hit running queens and like still, yeah. I mean, you would like to hit running queens, but even that, yeah.
Yeah, for being a best case scenario.
Yeah, and once it goes back call, like if you could call your last 80 chips here, getting 4-1 on the call, then there's kind of an argument for it. Although even that, I think, is probably a close fold. But with your implied odds here, just fold. Nice hand.
All right. Okay, so other than the pre-flop limp, which seems close-ish anyway.
I mean, it's somewhere between fine and nobody knows. So yeah.
So I'm sure some of these other hands that other people are playing are plenty interesting, but I've got a lot of my own.
Whoa!
Yeah,
oh no!
Okay.
Oh. Oh dear! Oh jeez. So I mean, okay. So here's the thing. So if it's gonna get jammed behind you, then that's not great. So this is a hand that looks better than it is if the pot's getting sort of rammed and jammed. A problem with calling is that your hand looks a bit like what it is, a nut low hand with some high potential. But you do have the suited ace. But other than that, your hand is very poor for high. Actually, you know what? I think I like this fold. I think when it gets re-raised, you don't like it. And yeah, I think this is a good disciplined fold. I think this is a good disciplined fold at this depth. I'm not sure. I think there are going to be some situations that are great for you, but a lot of situations where you have to fold after the flop. If that said, I would love to have a read on Xanos there. If you think that Xanos is just going to call a lot, then you've got like a really great, you've got an ace deuce wheel hand and the suited ace, and that's just too good. Like if you really think you can see the flop, then yeah, gamble, put your money in. But in a lot of situations, and note that that's not such an unreasonable hope. Xanos would have to 4-bet out of position if he's going to 4-bet. Even with a great hand, that can be undesirable. So now I'm almost talking myself back into a call.
Yeah,
But
for what it's worth, I think that a lot of I have no idea about Xenos either, but I think that in general, like there's going to be a lot of people similar to myself who my tweets are coming in. A lot of people similar to myself who are going to like probably err on the passive side, like they're not super experienced PL08 players. I also think that potentially makes Deuces 85's 3-bet a little stronger. I mean, he is the one person who I mean, I still think he's like a strong enough player that he's not going to be, a fish at PL08. But in terms of like players I recognize, he's the one like between him, Sirens, and Raid a lot. Like he's the one who's most likely to be amateurish about PL08. I think. So, I think that strengthens his 3-bet range a little bit, but I don't think a 4-bet is super likely behind me. I think inexperienced PL08 players are not real likely. I think they're just going to like call and see flops unless they have a very nutty hand.
yeah, in that case, I think maybe your hand is just too good to fold. But out of position, folding, not that bad.
Okay, yeah, that's the thing. I think I was just kind of erring on the tighter side. Interesting that my no folds there.
See, here's a good. You see, so that's sort of a good illustration. I mean, you pick one flop, but you do wind up with a hand that's like too good to fold, but not that great. So
that's part of the thing too, is like just being out of position and being somewhat amateur at this game myself. I feel like when it is close, I'm not gonna have the post flop skills to sort of realize all of my equity.
Yeah.
This can just be a quick one, but any case for limping behind here?
If your opponents are bad enough, it can. No, there's no. It's terrible. That hand is terrible. No.
I limp behind on the button a lot, no limit, but a lot of that is just like being a much better no limit player.
Yeah.
People I'm playing against.
Yeah, I mean there are weird edge cases. So like in a tournament, sometimes where people are going to be way too tight, and you can just call with like any 4, almost, and then take it away later. You do have the 5, 6, 7, so you'll make the nuts sometimes. So it's not the worst limp, but don't do it. Just fold.
So I really was unsure how to think through this situation. I feel like you could. Yeah, I kind of had no idea how to value my hand here or what to think about his min bet here.
Yeah, so we're at 2040 here. So it went complete call or complete check before the flop. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Then ace 5. So I think his min bet could be that he has an ace and he feels obligated to bet. So
Hashtag
there's that.
Guest.
Yeah. So that's a possibility. He could be trying to bluff cheaply. So that's another thing he could be doing. He could have the nut low draw. Or he could just, so there are a lot of things he could be doing. I do think it's not hard for him to have an ace here. I think, just completing with a lot of sort of junky aces hands and even some decent ones is reasonable. And then once he hits the ace 5, betting out makes sense.
I doubt he's open folding a lot of hands that have an ace in them.
Yeah,
I mean, you can imagine some, but I don't think there's a whole lot of hands that he's just open folding that have an ace.
Yeah, and it's not that hard for him to have an ace, a priori, especially given the 4 people have folded. So, yeah, I think if you're thinking about this hand is he might have something, my hand is terrible, I fold. That's not bad. I think that's a good way to start.
I suspect I called here. I don't remember. No, I guess I did fold.
Yeah, nice fold. Nice fold.
I must have really been trying to be disciplined in this tournament because.
Whoa. What's that there? Yeah, you know anything about this guy?
No.
Yeah.
83% VPIP.
Yeah, over 6 hands. Yeah. Yeah, I think folding is fine. Against some people who are going to be passive, 3-betting can have benefits. Your low side is a little bit too weak for that. I would default to folding here against a good player. If he's really like a pay station after the flop, you can get away with calling, I think, especially if the big blind doesn't play well.
And that was a big thing I was going to mention is I think if I call here, Sirens is going to call very well. Like I think he's going to find a lot of profitable calls just being a like much more experienced player than the two of us. So I think like inviting Sirens into the pot is it's going to be hurting me a lot.
Yeah. So I think this is a hand that looks better than it is. I'm as usual. I'm assuming that a lot of people watching this video haven't played a ton of PLO8 and can use things like starting hand advice. Ace 4 6 7 3 to the suit with the ace. It's a good standard fold. That said, if your opponent plays bad and you play good, then 3-bet, take it from there. Not a problem. I hope you raise. This really? Deep. Okay, yeah. No, in theory, no. In practice, yes. So your hand is like a mediocre PLO hand. Like you would definitely raise this hand in PLO, right? And it's just hot garbage in PLO8 because you're going to make a lot of. You'll make the nuts for high sometimes, but your low side is just so bad. That said, position is worth a lot. A good player will fold the small blind a lot. You're going to be in a lot of situations where either you get folds on the flop or turn, or you make the nuts for high or the effective nuts for high. If your opponents play well, they won't be playing this middle part of the deck. So a fold is fine, and I would do it against very good players. But standardly, you have enough hand one way that I would give this a raise. But that's also like how I play. I play a lot of hands from the cutoff and button, and even sort of weak one-way hands can be fine, I think.
Okay, yeah, I think, again, this is, I sort of came in with an explicit game plan of wanting to be, I probably was playing other stuff at the time also.
Yeah.
And so I didn't want to be because PLO8 decisions are disproportionately taxing for me. Like a lot of no-limit stuff. As much as I try to avoid the idea of like standard, I'm still I do have like kind of standard things for a lot of no-limit situations. And B, I can just kind of think through them much more quickly. And PLO8, I'm almost reinventing the wheel on most hands that I play, which is fun and interesting. But I think, especially if I have other stuff going on, I'm probably erring on the side of just like avoiding like marginal decisions that are going to consume a lot of mental energy to figure out.
Yeah, and I think that's smart. And I think if you're somebody like me, these tournaments can be a little bit of a trap sometimes because you're playing against much better players than are in most PLO8 tournaments, and like it can be easy to think that you're better at the game than you are if you've just been beating up on people who have no clue. My situation is, I hope, a little bit different. Like I've done kind of a lot of work on the game and played a lot of it. And I really prepped hard for the World Series tournament last year, sort of by comparison to how much I prepare for most tournaments. But I do think this hand is really bad. And even though I'm on the button, I fold. I think that's a good, healthy thought process.
Okay. So here we've got an open limp. I'd probably just check. That seem okay?
That's fine. Raising is fine too, to put some pressure on. But
I'm guessing I just call here.
Yeah, calling's good.
Think.
Hitting a queen, also good.
Should I be betting more than this?
So no low draws possible, and a lot of...
And no flush draw.
And each of you will have a lot of pretty weak hands here, actually, I think. So I think if you were bluffing, you could get away with a smaller bet. So I'd like this. I think your bet size here is good.
Great. Yeah, there's very few ways for me to not. Well, I guess it's pairing the board, but even pairing the board, like I have a 10 and a 5 in my hand. There's just so few bad turn cards or bad river cards for me.
Yeah, that's a good card. I would probably pot it here.
I just expect that if he has any jack is going to call.
Yeah, he'll call
any straight with a jack, but.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think he'll have a hard time folding a jack. I think it's hard for him to have the nuts, so I think you have license to, yeah. I guess if you had just a jack, you would have a hard time value betting at that size, but I think, it's not that hard for him to have a straight. And he can put you on a bluff. You did call the flop with 10-5, right? It happens you had a gut or two, but Yeah, it's not so hard. I think this situation is good for you on the river, and I think one way you make it good for you is by betting a little bit more. That said, I can see your justification for a smaller size. That being that, he's pretty likely not to have a straight. So yeah, I would bet more, but
although he may not call very often, he doesn't have a straight. I mean, it's pretty easy for me to have one.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think maybe just potting and trying to get called by a jack. For what, this is another no limit player I recognize, by the way.
Okay.
I have no idea what kind of PLO8 experience he might have, but he's been a long time tournament player, so decent chance this is not his first PLO8 tournament. All right. I mean, this is probably one of those guys who does play, like, when the mixed game stuff comes up, I think he plays it. Probably folding this.
Yeah, and I think you should. It's a hand, like, against weak competition. You can definitely get away with raising, but yeah, it's a hand that looks better than it is. With sirens on the button, I think folding is pretty good. If you're playing a $10 tournament and you play well, then I would open.
Now, if we knew the ace of diamonds were coming on the flop, this would be a pretty sweet hand.
Yeah. You just gotten a bunch of trap hands in a row. Good for you folding all these.
Thanks. Oh, there's a pretty hand.
Boom.
I bet I don't squeeze.
No, I would just call here. You'd like to keep some hands like this in your calling range. This one isn't going to play. I mean, it's going to play well no matter what you do. But, at this depth, being out of position, like, I wouldn't have a big re-raising range here at all. And it's good to have some hands like this in your calling range.
Okay. And is this a pretty straightforward check fold?
And it goes bet call. Yeah, I think you're in a reverse implied odds spot. It's not hard to be beaten.
And like, even if a 10 rolls off, it's like, I mean, it's not like you have great implied odds on making a straight in that situation. Yeah,
exactly. It's yeah. Oh, so that guy peeled the flop with queen 10 8 9 there. That's interesting.
He did flop a straight.
Oh, queen 10 8 9. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Good. I thought I saw queen 10 8 7. That's yeah, that makes sense. These hands are fun to play when you aren't folding them.
Yeah, I'm sure I didn't fold there.
Yeah. Well, it's like just good enough to play sometimes, but hard.
So is there a case for getting aggressive with this?
That's a good question. So if you raise, you are representing. I mean, you can have some sets, you can have some good draws. It's hard for you to have a really good. Yeah, I'm not sure I'd have a big raising range here. Against a very, yeah. So I don't think I would fold. Your hand is not as good as it looks to some people, I think. A lot of your straight cards are not to the nuts, and one pair is not so great, but this flop doesn't hit either of your opponents terribly well. So I think folding is a little bit too weak. Against a very tight player, you can do it, but or against like a very honest on the flop player, you can do it, especially if their pre-flop range is such that they can hit this flop. If you raise, you'll get some folds sometimes, but you're playing against somebody who bet into two people. So this bet carries a little bit more weight. He's a little bit likely to have something. If he has a hand like ace, queen, jack low, I'm not sure he's going to believe you immediately. That hand is behind you right now, but you're going to have a hard time getting to showdown. So I think I would rather call. I think he'll be scared later. Like, I think it shouldn't be too hard for you to get to showdown and win when you're best, especially if this person is not very good. And you've got enough hand to call with. I'd rather raise with other hands, I think, and really I probably just wouldn't raise too much.
Yeah, I think having so few nut outs hurts me more in a raised pot than like just sort of the more I shovel into the pot now, the more like the less good a 10 is going to be for me on the next street, or the less
Yeah,
good like the 5 of diamonds is going to be for me on the next street.
yeah, especially a diamond. I mean, the draw he's likeliest to have here is the nut flush draw.
Yeah, I guess I'm blocking king queen.
Yeah, and also a lot of king queen hands fold before the flop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he'll have some king queen. Yeah, yeah, he'll have some queen 10, but mostly he'll have a lot of nut flush draws. Okay, so now this happens. I would check and hope he checks behind. Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. So the argument for calling is that your hand is good, not infrequently. I mean, not that often, but with a pot of this size. Yeah, the argument for calling is to close your eyes and hope that you're getting the right pot odds, and that your kings, it's not so easy for a middle position raiser to hit this board with harder than one pair. And one reason he could be betting this small is to easily stand a raise with a hand like the nut flush draw and a low draw. A reason to fold is that your hand is bad. So this is read based. I think a lot of players would bet more with a really good hand here. A problem is that one reason he could be betting small is because he feels obligated to bet with two pair. I would probably, in the heat of battle, call because I'm getting good pot odds and because people don't play the river all that well. But there are a lot of reads I could have that would make me fold. And folding is not a big problem. It's easy for you to be behind.
Yeah, I'm not surprised to see that I folded, although it was not one of those cases where I'm looking at this knowing what I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine I was pretty torn about it in the moment as well.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's just your hand's bad, but what is he really representing? I don't know.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I might
What's
have
going on?
that actually.
King 4 deuce with a suit. Limped. Oh, okay, there we go. Okay, I call. Not sure how much I love Sauron's small raise at this depth. Like, I mean, it can be better than limping, but like, I don't know. At this depth, like, I don't see a lot of reason not to raise pot. But yeah, okay.
Calling seems pretty straightforward here.
Yeah.
Whoa. No, that surprises me.
Okay, so you have a non-nut draw, and you're really bad on. Yeah, you know what? You've got some high, but you're basically drawing dead for the low, and it could get raised behind you pretty easily. Yeah. I sort of had alarm bells going. I like this fold. This is a good disciplined fold, I think. Remember, so it's not that hard.
Yeah, I guess in a four-way
really,
pot, someone has the aces.
Yeah. So they both probably have aces. It's not hard for them to have the ace of hearts. It's not that hard for them to have the nut flush draw, especially conditioned on the fact that Look is betting out. Like, is he doing that with a naked low draw? I don't know. Is he doing that with a set? How does he have a set? Like, he's got something. Like queen 8. He could have queen 8. But, your flush draw is no good, at least sometimes. Like, if you hit a heart, you're not shoveling money into the pot. And you're drawing close to dead for the low if it comes in. So I like that. Nice hand.
I feel like I should have limped this behind.
Yeah, but also in middle position. No, I think that's a good fold.
Okay.
I think that's a good fold. Getting the cutoff, it's a little different.
I think I get in this mentality, especially when I've been playing like live cash, where I really want to play a lot of hands because I'm just like people are so bad and I'm so good at no limit that I feel like I relative to them and relative to my PLO8 ability that like I just want to be in all the pots. And then I think sometimes when I go because I was playing like 2-5 live last night, so then when I'm looking at this and I'm like, you get to play every hand, and I'm not really that good at this game.
Yeah. Oh man.
That said, I feel like I should be playing this.
Boy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Um, so you're bad for low. I mean, you've got good high possibilities. Yeah, I would probably raise this, but this deep, it's not super great. I wouldn't fall to fold, but yeah, I would. This is like the bottom of my opening range from this position.
This is how we get an 11% VPIP and a 0% pre-flop raise.
Yeah.
Should that be a call?
No.
I think part of the thing is I remember having this issue when I played the PLOA WSFP event as well. Is like I don't know, but because I have so little confidence in my own game, I pick up a lot more on just kind of like the human instinct to do what everyone else is doing, or to kind of like assume that other people, like if a lot of other people are doing it, it must be right. So you see other people playing these bad hands, and you're like, oh, maybe I should be like playing some of those, or especially if you see them like win pots with it. There's some like even though I know when I say that logic out loud, it's wrong. There's some part of my
it's very hard to avoid.
Brain that just responds to that and is like, that's how you play PLOA. Look, that's what everyone else is doing, and it's not like you have, in No Limit, I have such strong confidence in my own game that I'm not tempted by that kind of stuff. But that's an okay fold.
Yeah, calling would be okay too. It's not a good hand. The queen is a total dangler, right. but you've got the 3-4, you've got the suitedness, and you're getting a good price. So this in practice, I think, comes entirely down to how good you think the other guy is going to play after the flop, and in particular how aggressive he's going to be. Like you can't put in a lot of money almost ever. So if somebody's like mediocre but over aggressive, then it's good to fold that hand. Fold. Good. Well, this is a playable hand.
I don't know. Thoughts on the check?
So one thing I like about it is that it's going to be hard for you to have the nuts, and you're pretty deep, and it's not quite as hard for him to have the nuts. So I would probably check a good part of my range here. Like I'm going to have a lot of either bad low draws with an ace or like a lot of 2-pair and so on. So I'm going to have hands that I want to continue with but don't want to get blown out of the pot with sometimes. So I'm going to be checking, hoping for a check behind sometimes. So it's nice to have 3 aces sometimes when I check. So I like that. It's hard for you to be giving a free card to a flush draw. You've got the ace. So yeah, I like this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm basically looking at this as a hand I'm trying to get to a showdown right now. I don't even really see a lot of second best hands that can call a bet. Like, I mean,
yeah, ace deuce, ace 4.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I'm just thinking I'm blocking hands like that pretty hard. I mean, I know the fact that he chose to call a 3-bet still like increases the likelihood that he has the case ace, but
yeah,
there's only so many hands that are going to call my bet, and a lot of them, still have reasonable equity in the pot.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, one reason to bet is to get out sort of bad lows.
Like 7-6 or something.
Yeah. And if he has 3-5, you can have 4-5. So you could have like ace 8-5-4 or something.
That's not folding.
No, but it might fold later. But do you really want to be shoveling that much money in the pot? So I think checking is good. Check and call is fine. Check again. No, that's scary. That looks like the nuts. Yeah, no read on this guy?
Not really. No, I mean, just the head stats.
Yeah, so you're in a tough spot here. Like, you're asking to be bluffed. So you can either A, figure they always have it, and fold. That's fine. B, you can try to figure out whether this is a good hand to call down with. So you're blocking some semi-bluffs. So that's a reason to fold, right?
I'm blocking a lot of my boat outs too.
Yeah. So that's a reason to fold. And you're blocking some of his value bets, some of his thinner value bets. I don't know. On the flop, yeah, it's tough. I think folding is fine.
What I did.
Yeah.
Just hurts, man. Folding a set of aces.
It does hurt. But being out of position sucks.
That's why Carlos says he doesn't play PLO. He doesn't like having to fold strong hands.
Points for self-knowledge.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of think the flip side to that is...
Whoa, okay. That's not a great hand, and I think it's probably good to fold that hand against strong competition, but that's like a great example of a one-way hand that looks so bad that a lot of players just fold it, but actually is kind of nice if you have a position and the other players aren't too aggressive.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I guess if you're playing against wide ranges, which if you're getting called by the big blind, you are.
Yeah. I mean, look at that last hand. Being out of position sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I say the flip side... The flip side to that, the Carlos approach is just like learning to get that more flexible way of because you don't really want to just have the idea of like a full house is a strong hand and no pair is a bad hand. Like you want to.
If you're folding it, how good is it, right?
Yeah, but I just mean like even in no limit, like so many people have difficulty, especially when they move to playing wide range kind of situations like button versus big blind or whatever. It's so hard for them to think about even a really good unpaired hand like ace king on 7-5-2. They still have a really hard time thinking of that as like a reasonably good hand that can be they can be a bluff catcher, so can sometimes even be a value bet. Like people really have a hard time thinking of their hands even just in a single game in a flexible way, and so forcing yourself to play other games where hand values are different and like a straight is a lot less strong in this game than it is in no limit or a low flush or something. Just like training your brain to be more flexible about hand values I think has value even if you only really care about playing no limit.
Yep, I like that. Oh, I would call.
Yeah, I had a feeling you would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we aren't seeing. Are we seeing tons of hands getting like raised in 3-bet? No, it's.
Yeah, it's pretty passive.
3 to the wheel. You had some suitedness.
I think I played this one.
Yeah, calling here is good. If it gets raised, you can call. Like you don't love the raise, but you can call.
This is a decent outcome to end up being heads up.
Yeah. It is.
Unfortunately, this is the tricky spot to play.
This is a great hand to put in your semi-bluff range, I think. Like, he will have... Like, it's not so easy for him to have Jack 10. You block, actually, a lot of the... Like, he can have ace-X of clubs, but you block a lot of the X's.
Right.
So your hand looks like a draw, but he doesn't want to get frisky against a strong draw. You've got a 3. You could hit a 3. You could hit a 4. Like, if a 4 turns, he's got a nut low draw probably, or often, but okay. So we betting full pot, that's a little bit scary. That might make me fold.
Yeah,
but
I can't imagine I did anything other than fold. But yeah, I can see the case for semi-bluffing if he bets like half pot or something.
Yeah.
So let's say he bets 900. I've got a stack of 7K. Do you make it about like 2,500 and fold to a shove?
Yeah, that sort of invites a call. I might just pot it and side call it off, if which is not great, but like, I don't know. Does he have a set of kings? I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. But like a 3 low is worth something. And yeah, I mean, it's very like read dependent, but if he gets any fold, like run the numbers. It's hot garbage because it's not playable. If you just put your money in and he folds sometimes, it's not that bad. It's like
I mean, that is one of the like early no limit lessons you have to learn is like, yeah, sometimes.
Look at that hand he told. Wait, whoa. Look at that hand he told. Orlovsky. Is this Dan Orlovsky who once ran out of the back of the end zone? That's a football reference you're not going to get.
I did not get that, no.
Yeah, it's, no. Look, he's running out of the back of the metaphorical end zone.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing 80-60 over 5 hands.
Yeah, okay, no, I'm going to... Well, he might call. So, like, right there, that makes me want to fold a little more because it's more likely he has, like, king-queen or, like, king and a flush draw, and he's not folding, especially after he pots the flop. But if he goes, like, 1,000 on the flop, Stick it in his face and let him fold. Yeah, queen
Okay,
eight
yeah,
flop. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't approve of this play. And he potted the flop too.
Huh. Well, once you get there, it's like
Oh
ignore
yeah,
pre.
he's got some straight
Yeah.
draws. Okay, yeah.
He would like to shorten the effective stack, certainly, and he's got a lot of equity. He's got a flush draw, a backdoor flush draw, a straight draw. A lot of the better low draws than his are blocked. Not all of them, but like he's going to be up against counterfeited low hands a lot. Yeah, so I mean, potting the flop is not like subtle, but trying to get the other guy to fold is a good idea.
Yeah.
He's not going to be up, but like then again, it was like 3-bet. Well, if it's 3-bet, like ace, queen, jack, deuce will.
No, I don't think he did pot. I think he potted the turn after the flop checked through. Now that I think about it, let's see. Yeah, flop checks through.
Yeah, I mean it's not like subtle, but at that point he's got 2 flush draws and all that.
Yeah.
Once you hit the flush, I would. Well, he's just got a bad flush, but like, so the flop check through, so the other guy could definitely have a flush. But your hand looks like you could. Yeah, I don't know. A bad flush is a pretty good like bluff catcher, I think. I would probably just bet this river. That said, yeah, I would want to know more about my opponent, but I don't think. I don't know. Like I think he didn't play that hand great, but once you get to the flop, it's not good to fold.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest mistake certainly is just calling the 3-bet.
Yeah.
The rest of the hand is sort of.
Yeah, I mean, I probably wouldn't open in the first place, which is a hell of a thing for me to say. But it's like.
But like I guess it's my hunch is that calling the 3-bet is worse than opening.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, especially if the other person is not playing atrocious. Like if he's even playing okay. Oh, I would limp behind, I think, maybe. Especially if Orlovsky is in the big.
That's a pretty nutty hand.
Yeah, also I know that the quarterback's name doesn't have the I between the K and the 1, but I'm going with the joke. Raise. Okay. Yeah. Again, like close to the bottom of your raising range, but that's close.
Yeah, I will say I probably did not see that hand that Orlovsky, showed down before.
It's probably like on tilt. So like negatives to calling. Your hand isn't that good for high, and your hand isn't that good for low. Positives to calling. So your opponent could be on tilt. He plays too many hands, and you hit almost every flop somehow. Like you can make really good decisions on the flop, especially against a not super solid player who might be on tilt. And also, a lot of what makes this hand not great is reverse implied odds in deep stack situations. But once you call, it's not a deep stack situation anymore. The SPR is like 2, not even 2, like 1.6 or whatever.
And the less nutty his 3-betting range is, the less the like reverse implied odds thing is a problem.
Yeah, that's right. Although you also like some of your 2-pair hands get a little bit less good if it like I don't know. There are weird things with like polarization in this game where like ace king 8 can be actually pretty good against other people's high sides of their ranges if they aren't balancing real well and if they aren't 3-betting a lot of mediocre hands, but that's a whole different subject. Yeah, so I would probably call here and then stick it in on a lot of flops. Another thing is that a reason not to do that is because you have enormous edges all over the place. But here you don't really have enormous edges all over the place the way you sometimes might in this game. So yeah, I would call here and see what happens and often get it in on the flop. All right. But we'll never know what you would have flopped, which is fine. Fold. Okay. Ooh, that's a bad hand. Yeah, okay, so Orlovsky is just like not a good PLA player, which is fine. Prerogative. Like he settled it in. Good for him, it's just okay. Call.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
No.
So I think with the more people called pre-flop, the more inclined I was to just squeeze. Bad reasoning.
I would say ta-ta to the thought of re-raising this hand. Sorry, bad joke. Yeah. Yeah, I would. So you will. You know what? Actually, it's not terrible. You're going to get played with sometimes, and you're going to have an overlay when you do get played with. And Yeah, you know what? I kind of like it. A lot of hands that play with you will not have a great high side. You block a lot of the hands that'll play with you. So this hand plays well if you call. You're going to hit top set fairly often, or second set in a situation where nobody's likely to have top set. So that's really good. But now I sort of think that three betting is better.
It's just like I feel like it's hard to go wrong when I'm like it's going to be pretty shallow by the time I three bet, and there's so much. It's not exactly dead money, but I mean there's a lot of money to be won by taking it down pre-flop or like thinning the field pre-flop.
Well, I think it's not going to be it's going to be pretty shallow, but you're still not going to be in a great stack size situation. So if you three bet to like what 15,
Yeah, I think I just potted it.
yeah, so then it's like 3K. So if you get called in this many spots, then you're okay. But like here is a good example. Like this isn't great. Like you're not winning. Like the money you put in on this flop, like you lose money right now. Unless somebody's like calling with every queen. So there are plenty of threes they can have, but it's going to be pretty hard for you to fold here unless it goes back call. So I would check. I would start with checking, I think.
I'm 90% sure I just jam it.
Yeah,
I mean, I have an overpair and a pot-sized bet. All in, baby.
Yeah, I think, I mean, it's not terrible. You protect against some things, including turned low draws that also turn some straight draws. But, like, I think even, like, some queens will fold. So when you get called, like, you don't
I will say, there's a chance you're giving these guys too much credit for folding the queen.
I mean, okay, what if, so you block some ace queen. So, like, if they called with king, queen, jack 10 and flop this flop with no flush draw, are they calling a pot-sized bet?
I wouldn't be shocked.
Okay. That's a little bit different.
I think, like, that is the sort of mistake we'll see from some people in a tournament like this.
Yeah, but those people are also going to call with a lot of threes, I think. So, yeah. So I'll say if this is queen, deuce, deuce, then check folding starts to look a lot better.
Makes sense. Oh, wow.
Oh, check. Nice check. Good check. This sucks. I think it's a pot odds call, but you should hate it. And folding is not that bad.
Yeah, I guess I found the fold. Wow. That surprises me. I really thought I was just going to jam it in. Let's see what I would have lost to.
See? That's why you can't. That's why I called the flop.
Oh, boy. Give me 1 second to plug this in. Okay, plugged in. Sorry about that. I think partly I just was enjoying the tournament and didn't want to go out of it.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's a good disciplined fold there. Yeah, so you like to limp from early position. I would just make sure you're also limping some better hands than this.
I do. I think I certainly have it in me to limp aces or something like that. Especially, I guess I'm more inclined to do it with not great aces where, if it limps around, that's fine, or if I can get a lot of money in pre-flop, that's fine. But ones that are like difficult to play in single raise pots.
Yeah. So if there's like only one player behind you, this is a pretty good spot to stab.
Yeah, but I thought 5-way pot.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So now I think you kind of have the green light here. It's going to be hard for either of the two players behind you to check a 4.
This is where my hand reading suffers. I'm still just like, someone could easily have a 4 or ace.
Yeah, it's not that easy. And even if like one of the two players, like, so even if somebody does have a 4, like it's more likely to be one of the players to your right, and it's pretty hard to check raise for them to check raise a lot of 4s, and you have a lot of outs against that hand.
Yeah,
and
sense.
In a lot of hands that you fold out, I mean, you have ace 10 high, so you want folds from almost anything that folds.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think I am probably betting pretty big. Yeah, that seems right.
I would bet a little bit smaller to try to get calls.
Like that.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Nice. I'm the best.
Nice answer, sort of. Calling, yeah. Three betting is at this depth. Three betting is also good. You hit so many flops.
Yeah, I was about to ask if there's a case for just jamming it.
Yeah. Yes, there is. It's like this flop, you can happily just, it's not your best flop, but you do flop a nut low draw with backup. Like you can definitely just ship it in and get folds sometimes if you three bet the flop. But I like not being too aggressive on this flop. You don't really have a high hand, so you want to keep it multi-way. So that's good. I would probably.
You're gonna bet the turn?
No, I would check here.
Okay.
I would check here. Yeah. So this is good. Just calling is good, I think.
I've even got the counterfeit protection.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So that's good.
Yeah, we did manage to take some money off of that player.
Yeah. Re-raise.
Yeah.
I mean, at this depth, it's like a good we can.
It's like you'll flop a lot of equity.
Yeah, that's right. Like it's not. So this hand plays fine, I guess, for a call, but you're also like at a 5-1 SPR, you're going to be folding away equity a lot or calling with the worst of it a lot. Mm-hmm. And if you three bet, like especially if, so I guess Zorro is a little bit tight, so you're probably just going to get it in with bad equity a lot before the flop. So that's not great. But if you move Zorro over one or two spots, or you replace him with like a somewhat looser player, then I like just re-raising and either taking it down or shipping it on the flop. See, you make 3 fours.
Folding equity.
Yeah, exactly. Like you got a flush draw there, right?
No.
Okay, so still over pair, pair, yeah. Yeah, you can call there, but it's not great.
Maybe you can call there.
Yeah. Okay.
These are the hands I like to play.
Yeah. So this is a good hand to call with. It's. Yeah.
I guess I could raise a little bit less than pot, but if I want to get stacks out on the river, I think I do need to make a pretty hearty raise. And like,
also if he folds away. Yeah,
right.
Folding away low is really good. Like, there's no ace or deuce on the board. Yeah, he has a low here pretty often, especially when he's trying to set a price.
Right, so. That's what I was thinking with that min bet. There's a fair chance he is trying to.
Yeah. Sweet blocker bet.
The thing about that, about people who do the especially on the turn, setting your own price or something. I mean, it's a terrible strategy against a good player who's willing to raise you, but it does actually work against a lot of the people those folks are playing against.
Oh yeah.
So it's sort of it's hard to call it like a bad. Or it's weird with some of that stuff where people I think a lot of people don't understand that it's an exploitive thing, but they do know they're not wrong that it works against a certain type of player. It's just when you extrapolate from that it's just generally a good player don't understand the weakness of it.
Yeah, and also it's not great to always set your bet size according to the price that you would want if you did have a draw, but thinking about the price that you would want if you did have a draw, then betting a balanced range at that size can be pretty sweet, especially exploitively.
Yeah. Does this seem okay for a pre-flop call? I mean, not to the 1400, but I'm just calling the.
Yeah, I mean it's thin, but Sirens is just going to call or sometimes fold a lot. So yeah, it's fine. It's not a huge moneymaker, but it's fine. The problem is you have to fold away a lot of your equity pretty often, but you're calling 1.5 blinds. You'll be fine. Limping is fine. If you're limping behind as much as you are, calling with this hand, limping also with this hand can be pretty great. Especially it's getting raised behind you a fair amount. But raising also good. Your hand's really good.
Okay, we're good with betting the flop.
Especially against this player, yeah, who can have a lot of hands that you want to fold and who can have a lot of hands that you will fold. That's not what you wanted to happen on the turn. King 5, 7, 9. Eesh. Man, your hand is so bad for high. If you had even a gut shot or something, then I would probably want to, yeah. I think he's going to check a lot on the turn. I think check folding here is okay. Yeah, it's okay. Nice hand.
It just I feel like it's been so weak tight. There's been like so many spots where, and I mean part of it is just like not getting a lot of good flops, but or turns or whatever. But I feel like there's been so many situations where I like put money in with equity and then end up folding when I still have equity.
Yeah, you've been getting a lot of your good hands out of position, I think, which will do that to you.
Yeah.
Nah.
How do you feel about this call?
It's fine.
I just feel like the price I'm getting, it's like
Folding is also fine, but yeah.
So I mean, pretty easy for. Oh, now it's a little harder for someone to have a deuce, but still not really that hard. I mean,
yeah.
Everybody plays ace deuce.
Yep.
And that's another one of those.
Yeah. Sorry. How long are we gonna go here?
5 more minutes.
Fantastic. Sorry, and that's another one of those.
Another one of the, like in No Limit, people are always just like, well, if he has quads, he has quads. I guess I just lose. Which I think when there's 3 on the board is not even really a great way of thinking about a lot of No Limit situations, but certainly in PLO, like it's not hard for someone to have quads.
Yeah.
In fact, in a 5-way pot, when there's 3 deuces on the board, I mean, I guess 3 aces would be even more likely, but it might even be like better than 50% that someone's going to have quads.
Yeah.
Although no bet on the flop reduces likelihood a little bit.
Yeah, I was playing 2-4 limit Omaha 8 or better at Foxwoods in 2003 or 2004. And this happened. Like 6 people played, and then the flop came ace, ace, ace. And like this like grizzled old guy turned to the guy next to him and said, 40 cards dealt. It's out there. Which you shouldn't say during a hand, but he was
true,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You call this?
No, I think I fold.
Yeah.
Nice hand.
Yes, I just I want to get this to about an hour if that's okay.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm making a dinner that takes almost exactly 50 minutes to make and should be done by 6:30.
Okay.
So this works perfectly.
Super.
Highly efficient.
I'm glad I could work it out for you.
Yeah.
I'm glad you could do this.
Yeah. Am I facilitating a casino run tonight or something by getting this done early?
Girlfriend run.
Oh, nice. Any result? Oh, sorry, we're still recording. Following up on a Twitter story of yours from last night, but now it's not the time for that. That's interesting. I feel like you were getting a lot of trap hands in a row for a while there, but these are all obviously garbage hands. This one is, more a trap hand. I've raised that against sort of passive bad tables before, but here I would fold.
How about, is this controversial to fold that?
A little bit, yeah. You got some high equity, and you've got 3 wheel cards to the ace. So
do you raise?
Depends a lot. At this depth in a tournament, I think I would often fold, but I think raising can't be too bad. I would fold here, I think.
Really?
Yeah, it's just so hard to realize your equity.
Yeah, this is not really very many nut combinations either.
Yeah. Big difference between 2x and 2.5x also.
Yeah, there I am folding 2 pair.
Yeah.
Which is not really that close, but a good example of what you're talking about.
Gamble. Yeah. Is that a good flop? I think that's a good flop.
Got a good flop. So only get half the pot.
It's a good hand.
I think we're gonna go with this one too.
Yeah. And re-raising is quite a bit better than calling, I think.
Ram and jam.
That's not what you want to see. Yeah.
I know I had a gut shot.
Yeah. Wait, sorry, what was that? Ace-3 something? Yeah. That's, so you're at
16.5 blinds.
Yeah. I think you can probably, yeah, I think folding's good. Folding's good.
Okay, so if you can just find one more hand to discuss, and then we'll call it a video.
All right. Yeah, calling's fine. Not super profitable, but fine for one blind. Huh. Okay, fold. Yeah.
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 Although I guess I'm not going to have that many interesting decisions once I'm this short.
This one's pretty interesting.
Yeah,
like call it off or not. Like Orlovsky's going to call it behind you, so it's going to be hard for you to have less than the equity. But like, I think it's non-trivial. Like calling off all your chips with a hand that's really just a one-way hand, mostly, is not trivial. But you know, you do have some wheel potential. You got some flush potential. The 10 is worth a little bit if you don't have to play it. And yeah, and Orlovsky's just been going bananas. Like your ace deuce gets the full half of the pot more than it should here because of how Orlovsky's playing. And I think the chips at this depth might not be re-raising so many ace deuce hands. Like he might be a little high card heavier for his re-raises. So I like the way your hand fits into like their ranges. So I think it's a straightforward fold that a call that some people might not make.
Pretty nice flop, yeah.
Nice flop. Nice flop. Boom.
Shibbity dibbity. Okay, so I guess in some ways we're leaving people at an exciting point in the tournament, but I think it's a good time to stop.
Well, and now we've got material for another video.
Fair point. All right, we'll keep the donations rolling in, and maybe we'll make one.
Fantastic. Thanks, Andrew. This was a good time.
Take care.